Hey, my more brothers, back again. Uh, this is probably going to be on the Reborn channel. So if you are new to the Reborn channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is probably where most of the charts are going to be. I get too much flack on my regular channel. So this is something I found interesting. I was looking at, playing around with some indicators or some instruments. And this is a Ripple chart for the January 4th. And this is a day chart. And, the previous chart, I was trying to use Fibonacci retracements. And while that did a decent job, In fact, it did come back into the channel a little bit as far as the Fibonacci, but what I wanted to find out is something that maybe was a little bit more useful, a little bit more accurate, because this is fast moving, and since it's shooting straight up, it's kind of unwieldy. I tried to use something that my partner actually uses all the time, which is an Andrews fork, which is what you see right here. There's your Andrews fork. Really what you do when you set up an Andrews fork, you actually find, I use this. You have to play around with it because it's not always fitted, because it's a loose instrument. It's not precise. But what you try to do is you try to find a a low. Is a breakout low from the move, or a low from the move that's up, which is right there. So you break out low, that's where your first point is. I actually will probably do another video to show you actually how to set it up, or how I set it up. Break out low, and then you have two pivot points. Okay, your breakout low sets up your median line, which is right there. And then what you have is your two pivot points, which is a previous high, is a, by textbook previous high, which is right there. And then the following low, which is right there. And then you're going to have, it's going to make a median line and a channel. And when I tried it on this particular instrument, this particular motion instrument, it actually fit pretty well. Actually, I'm going to show you in the next chart. But this is an Andrews pitchfork. If you go to Trading View, you hit the it's three lines that's actually set up channels where your Fibonacci, your Andrews pitchfork, your fans and other kind of stuff are actually there. Your Andrews pitchfork and your Fibonacci, they're channels. They're channels that actually kind of help you kind of predict where price action will rise and fall. And like I said, I tried it on this one because it actually broke out of my Fibonacci channel. Fibonacci's were okay, but it didn't quite fit what I wanted. So I needed another instrument. So I decided to try the pitchfork since it's actually in an upward channel. So that's what I did on this one. And so far, it looks like a pretty good fit. And I'm going to show you. This is a day chart, and it's hard to see it in a day chart how it actually fits, because it looks rather simple, like it's not doing much. But in the next shot, we're going to scroll down to the hourly chart. Now, this is the hourly chart. In fact, you can. I probably have to show you how to do it, but I'm saying if you go to Trading View, any good trading program will actually give you different kind of bars. First, we have day bars, and then we have, you have monthly, you have weekly, you have day, and then you have 4 hour, 3 or 2 hour, 1 hour, and then it goes down into the minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and 5. 5 is normally the lowest. 5 is normally the lowest. That's if you're day trading. But I went down to, I needed more bars to actually show you the price action a little bit better. So I went down to the hour chart. So now you can see, you can't, it's, since we have more bars, we can't quite see the lows, the pivot low, but we still have the previous high, and then the movement low, which is right there. And you can see how this this action is actually keeping right within. It's actually a pretty good trend line, keeping right within the trading line, and within the channel. And you see, like I set this up yesterday, and you can actually see how, even though I set it up yesterday, it's actually staying well within the channel, because it hit the bottom. It actually tested the trend line down here, which is really, if you were intraday buying, you know, if you're a day trader and intraday buying, this is actually a pretty good signal. You got 1, 2, 3 tests of support of the trend line. Actually, those are 3 buying opportunities if you're buying on a daily basis. If you're buying on a short action, it actually does 2 things. We have a support line here that we've previously drawn, and we have a trend line, you know, a trend line, support line, which it actually gone on, but actually tested out here, and then it's actually following the upward trend that we have in our channel. So it's following the bottom of the upward channel. It bounces off, then it goes back up. Now sometimes it will actually test this, which is your median line. It tested the median line, it broke it, went up, tested the top, came back down, and the median line is actually very good. Median line will tell you whether it's actually going to go back up or down. And normally, well, like I said, this is like I said, the green arrow is normally the decision arrow. Normally, when it hits this, you kind of know that there's a downward trend. And the purple area is like the danger zone to see whether it's going to bounce or go back up. This is where you look. You don't buy or sell right in here. You see if it's going to set a trend. All right, here, let's see if I can find an oval. Find me an oval. I can't find me an oval. Crap. Find a pencil. See, we have a double top up here. It bounced off the trend line, upper trend line, which is a double top, and came back down. Just like a good old support line, a good old trend line. You got upward support and lower support. Good old trend line. Good old trend line. Upper support, you have the upper support where it bounced off and came back down, and then you got lower support. Just like here. Find my pencil again, if I can. It's like here, where it hit, where you have the support on the trend line, 1, 2, 3. That's good support. That means it's probably going to go side. Well, actually, since you're in an uptrend, it's going to continue the uptrend. And after it hit 3 times, it actually have an explosion. Once it passed here, trend line there, it actually came up, double bottom, double top, came back down. But the thing is, this is a normal action for an upward trend. Actually, forks are very good for trends. If it's a sideways action or explosive action, first thing you do is actually take your Fibonacci, see if it retraces. But if it actually is going to form a trend, even if it's an upward trend, even if it's an explosive upward trend, you can actually use a fork and shorten your bars. And go, if you're on a week, you go from a week to a day. And then if it's still too fast or too explosive, you go from a day to 4 hours. If that's still too fast for that, don't have enough bars, then you actually go to a 1 hour bar. I could go to 5 to give you more bars, give you a better look at what it's doing, but I think that would be too busy. It would be more confusing. You see more up and down patterns that get you kind of you see how everybody's trading, but I think for most people that'd be too busy. So that is the Andrews pitchfork. It's actually a pretty good signal on this one for this particular move. So yeah, this is like it's a slightly advanced class for charting. But if you guys are actually using this and you want to use it as an indicator to buy or sell, or find an entry point, a lot of times you can actually get a pretty good entry point or even a good sell point. These are all pretty good entry points on an upward trend anywhere in here, because it's tested, and if you test, you buy. Test, you buy, test, you buy. If it drops off, that's usually a sell. And normally when you have a sell, then you want to go slightly below the trend line. So if you're actually trading, you go slightly before trend line. If you're thinking about getting out, that's the time to get out. But as long as it's staying within this channel, you ride it out, or you even buy. Like right here, up here with a double top, those are always sell signals if you're doing it on a short-term basis. But these are our like I said, these are our bars. So unless you're day trading, you actually wouldn't use these signals for selling, buying only. If you want to buy in, if it comes down to this trend line and it doesn't come out, that's where you buy at. And always if you're going to buy near this support anytime, I always have if not a physical stop, I mean a hard stop where you actually a pre-approved stop like 10% below the line. Like if you're going to have let's get us a line. If you're going to have a stop, your stop should be trailing stops like this. So in other words, to say if the price comes down, say if this price comes down, it penetrates that line, you know that's probably a sell, but you wouldn't sell it till you got right here if you're trading. If you're trading. And it depends on where you buy it at. Normally you would buy down here, and if the price actually, that's the same thing. If you buy it here, you do a hard stop down here. If it comes up, this is where your trailing stops are if you're trying to get it. If you're planning on getting out of a market, say, and getting into something else, you use this as a channel, and then for a trailing stop. So if you had enough profit, or you think you want to have enough profit, you want to get out, you would actually use this, say like in a day chart, or even say a 4-hour bar, or even hour bar, and you would use this this pitchfork. So when it came out of the channel, it hit your stop, then you would be out of the market if you're trying to sell. But that is the Andrews pitchfork for Ripple. Most times, if you guys don't look for this stuff, you probably won't find it. In fact, I look on YouTube. It's kind of hard to find. They'll tell you how to set up a pitchfork, but they won't explain to you how really to use it. It takes a minute. Same thing for Fibonacci. They'll give you an example, but if you really don't know how to use it, they don't give you all the details because they're trying to sell you something. But anyway, the last thing I'm going to show you is Bitcoin. All you other folks to ask me about other coins, when I actually look at them, I'll actually get to it and I'll do my best to chart it. It's kind of hard to chart something you haven't followed. Okay, Bitcoin. Interesting thing about Bitcoin. Like I say, these things love flags. These things love flags. And Bitcoin, and this is a Bitcoin day chart. So what we had earlier, so we can find a arrow. We had earlier is when it broke out and jumped up to its highs, like that is its all-time high. Okay, and it actually broke out a little bit right here. That's the breakout. So at the breakout, we set a support line. And then what we did is we actually since these things love flags, we actually set up a flag right here. We set up a flag channel. And so we drew a trend line. Drew a trend line right there. And the trend line, the up line, the trend line forms a triangle, what you would call a flag. Now this is a steep flag, but it's still a flag. Now a flag, what you want to do with a flag is to see if it's going to find support, which it did. It has a trend line, which it did. And somewhere along the line, it's going to have a decision point. Now that is your decision point normally. Now when a decision point has got to go one of two ways. It's going to have to go down. It's going to go up, break to the upside, or it's going to go sideways. And now if it kept this way and hit the support line and went sideways, then you have sideways action. Normally what these things like to do is they like to go up or down on a triangle. So if they see, now we see a trend line breakout, double support 1 and 2, 3, basically a double test of support. Came across, you have an up arrow, up bar that actually broke the trend line, and basically it is forming, probably going to form a new support here. It didn't quite go back up to the neck. Didn't quite go back up to the neck. There's your neck. So it didn't break out to over the neck. If it's going to sustain its upward movement, it's got to break out over the neck and travel back closer to where the all-time highs are. If not, we have sideways or probably bearish. It's kind of hard to tell with cryptos. Cryptos really don't have that much of a personality. But that's what I noticed with Bitcoin. And it's not going back into oversold territory. Let me get my pencil real quick so I can circle this for you. This up here, since we drew our Fibonacci, this is overbought. It's overbought territory. Down here is oversold. In other words, those are buying opportunities. It gets down there, it's way oversold. That's where you buy it at. These, like I said, in here, the green are buys, yellow is decision, and this, in the pink or the red is basically normally it's overbought. Now that will probably change if it establishes a new breakout point, but until then, Ripple is probably, not Ripple, but Bitcoin's probably in a trading range. And I would say the trading range is probably between 16.5 and all the way down to 11.5. That's pretty broad for Bitcoin. It's pretty damn broad for Bitcoin. But like I said, it's moved back to the median. I tried to use a pitchfork on this, but it's saying it's going sideways. It doesn't quite fit. So the Fibonacci channel seems to be working for this one. So that's it on Bitcoin. I may try to get to, somebody asked for Ada Cardano and Electronium. I might try that one if I look at it. If I look at it and I see something, I might put that up, give you guys a peek at it. But like I'm saying, for all you guys that follow cryptos, this is where it's going to be at. It's real short and sweet. I hope this helps. I hope you guys study the chart. Try these. Go to TradingView. since it's free. Play around with the tools. If you guys need a little how-to on how to use some of the tools, hit me up. I'll actually walk you through, actually let you look over my shoulder when I set up a chart and give you an idea of how I use the tools and how I would set up the chart, from soup to nuts. But with that, it's 20 minutes, so I'm gonna jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I hope you crypto kitties have a good day.